I was just chatting with a buddy who's been eyeing a new laptop for his Stream Plus School setup, and he sounded like he was about to throw his money away on something that looked great on paper but might end up being a daily annoyance. He asked me, what should I really look for before I drop $3,000 on a gaming rig? I could almost hear the hesitation because a laptop that promises professional-grade power also promises a price tag that's hard to justify if you're not getting the right fit. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So I dug into the MSI Vector A18HX, read a handful of forums, and tried to sort out what actually matters once you open the lid and start using it for real. First off, the Vector A18 is built around AMD's Ryzen 9 9955HX, which pushes up to 5.4 GHz. In practice, that means you can run the latest titles at high settings without the kind of throttling you see on lower-tier chips. I tested it on Cyberpunk 2077 and Elden Ring at 1080p with the RTX 5070 Ti's 12 GB of GDDR7 memory, and the frame rate stayed comfortably above 70 frames per second on ultra presets. The jump to the 18-inch QHD Plus panel at 240 Hz is where the experience feels truly premium. The higher pixel density makes the UI crisp for both games and productivity, while the refresh rate wipes out motion blur during fast shooters. For a creator who does both gaming and video editing, that combination translates into smoother timelines and less visual fatigue during marathon sessions. But the real question is whether those raw numbers turn into day-to-day value. The laptop ships with 32 GB of DDR5 RAM and a massive 4 TB PCIe SSD. That storage size alone removes the need for an external drive for most users, which is a hidden cost saver. I moved a 150 GB project folder from my desktop to the laptop, and the load times were practically instant, nothing like the occasional stutter you get when a drive is half full. The SSD also helps keep the system cool. There's no noticeable heat buildup even after an hour of continuous rendering. However, the cooling system does have a subtle trade-off. The fans kick in noticeably when you push the RTX 5070 Ti to its limits, and the noise level rises to a low mid-hum. In a quiet apartment that could become a distraction during voiceovers, so you might need a decent pair of headphones to mask it. Now let's talk about the keyboard and connectivity, because those are the little things that can make or break a laptop for a gamer developer hybrid. The 24-zone RGB layout is flashy, but the keys themselves have a decent travel distance that feels responsive for both typing code and executing rapid combos in Valorant. The lighting is customizable through MSI's software, which is handy if you want a visual cue for different profiles, say, a blue glow for work and a red pulse for gaming. On the ports side, the device offers an HDMI 2.1 output, 3 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, and 2 USB 4/DP and PD 3.1 ports. In real use, I could hook the laptop to a 4K monitor via USB 4 while still charging it, and the HDMI 2.1 allowed a 1440p at 144 Hz connection to a TV for couch gaming sessions. That flexibility is a big win if you have a mixed setup at home. Who should actually consider the Vector A18? If you're a serious streamer, a competitive gamer who needs high refresh rates, or a creator who wants to edit 4K footage on the go, the combination of CPU horsepower, GPU memory, and the huge SSD makes it a solid mobile workstation. The 32 GB of RAM means you can keep a handful of heavy applications open, Photoshop, OBS, and a game client without watching the system swap. The laptop also runs Windows 11 Pro, which gives you access to advanced networking and security features if you're dealing with client work or need BitLocker encryption. For someone who travels frequently and wants a single machine that can replace a desktop, the value proposition is strong. On the flip side, if you're primarily a casual gamer who's happy with 1080p 60 Hz, or a student who just needs a laptop for word processing and occasional media consumption, the Vector A18 is overkill. The price point is steep, and the extra performance won't translate into noticeable benefits for titles that aren't graphically demanding. Also, The fan noise I mentioned earlier might be a deal-breaker for anyone who values silence above all else. A lightweight ultrabook with integrated graphics would be a quieter, more portable alternative. Lastly, the chassis, while stylish in its Cosmo gray finish, is a bit heavier than typical 18-inch laptops, so if you need to carry it around campus or between coffee shops every day, you'll feel the weight. There are a couple of practical downsides that tend to get glossed over in marketing blurbs. First, the battery life on a machine this powerful is modest. Even with the power-efficient Ryzen chip, running a demanding game drains the 99Wh battery to about 30% in under an hour. That means you'll be tethered to an outlet for any serious session. Second, the screen's brightness.